My sales really took a hit for the month of March. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Jasmine. So today I wanted to share my 3 best and worst sales for the month of March and how the COVID-19 pandemic has been affecting my sales. In addition, I wanted to share a little perspective of what it's like working as a frontline worker during the pandemic. If you like videos like this, be sure to give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to see more content like this. So for the month of March, I had a total of $931.74 in gross sales. From March 1st to the 8th, I had 17 sales. I had no sales from the 8th to the 12th, and I had 11 sales from the 13th to the 30th. My gross sales was roughly 50% of what I made in February, so you can obviously tell that there's a significant impact that the pandemic has been having on my business. So I'm going to start off with my top 3 sales for the month of March. The first one being these Good American ombre leopard print leggings, which I did pick up from a retail store. I didn't know the brand when I was looking through them, but I could feel that they were high quality. So I looked it up, and sure enough, they were branded by one of the Kardashian sisters, and the comps looked good, so I picked them up. And they sold within, I think, 1 to 2 weeks of me listing it. Next, I sold these Vans in collaboration with Disney. They are a kid's shoe, but they still sold for $75, which was my full asking price. Lastly, I sold these 1 teaspoon jeans for $43, which was best offer. I had them listed for maybe between $50 to $60, but I still made a good profit with $43, so I took it. To start off my 3 worst sales, I sold these Ziggy Soho genuine suede leather boots for $8. I was still able to make a little bit of profit on them, but when I was listing them, I noticed that there was a flaw. One of the boots was missing 2 straps that wraps around the boot, so I actually moved that 1 strap to the other boot so that they were both missing 1 strap. I did include that in the details of my listing, and I was still glad to see it go for $8. Next, I sold these Adidas Adilite sandals for $20. My profit margin wasn't that high, so I included it in one of my worst sales for the month. I originally had them listed for, I think, $25, but I took best offer for $20. My last sale was this Cabby leopard print tank, which sold for best offer of $18. I think I had it listed for maybe $22 to $25, so $18 was quite reasonable. I was so happy to see this go because it sat in my closet for a really long time. It was the first time that I had picked up Cabby, so I wasn't sure how well it would do, but I could see that other people were reselling Cabby, so I thought I'd give it a try. So that sums up my top 3 best and worst sales for the month of March. And as I mentioned before, I wanted to give a little bit of insight of what it's like working as a nurse during the COVID-19 pandemic. So for those who don't know, I do work full-time as an RN in Ontario, Canada, in a hospital. So on March 17th, it was announced that Ontario was in a state of emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, on March 22nd, the Ontario government gave hospitals temporary powers to override any collective agreements held by unionized positions. This meant that healthcare workers could be redeployed to different areas of work, such as not their unit that they're normally on, or they can also be redeployed outside the hospital that they are working at. This also meant that they could change our schedules on an as-needed basis, as well as cancel any vacations that were previously booked. Of course, this creates some sort of nervousness and anxiety because when we come to work, we're not always sure where we're going to be placed. Currently, there are no visitors allowed in the hospital except when a patient is considered palliative and is nearing end of life. Healthcare staff are screened whenever they enter the hospital, and we are given a mask which we are to wear for our entire shift. On top of that, we are given a face shield which we need to reuse every time we come to work. We are required to clean it on an as-needed basis when we come into patient contact. When we are caring for a COVID-19 patient, they are considered in droplet precaution, which means that we need to wear a gown, gloves, face mask, and face shield whenever we enter the room. So whenever we exit a patient's room who is positive for COVID-19, we are required to remove our face shield and clean it with a special cleaning product. In a perfect world, we would be disposing of these face shields, but we are trying to conserve PPE, and this is one of the strategies that we are implementing. If a COVID patient is required intubation or aerosolized treatments, we are required to wear N95 masks. On top of that, we treat every code blue as if the patient was positive for COVID-19, regardless of whether or not they were tested. I find it quite frustrating to see people out in public wearing N95 masks, especially at the grocery store, because one, there is no aerosolized treatments going on at the grocery store, and two, they are probably not wearing the proper fitted mask, and therefore is not very effective. I also see a lot of people wearing gloves when they're out in public, but the best way to avoid getting COVID-19 is to wash your hands or use hand sanitizer if a sink is unavailable, and to avoid touching your face. Imagine if you're wearing those pair of gloves and you're traveling all over to get your errands done. You're touching so many surfaces, and all that bacteria on those surfaces remains on that one pair of gloves. The CDC recommends that people wear non-surgical masks when they're out in public. However, the WHO actually says that this is not beneficial and will not stop the spread of COVID-19. As I mentioned before, when people are positive for COVID, they are in droplet isolation. So if you are out in public and somebody is infected with COVID, those droplets that they're spreading through coughing and sneezing and even maybe spitting through their speech will spread onto your clothes. So wearing a mask will not be beneficial. It is very important that if you are experiencing any symptoms or have had recent travel, that you should just stay at home. Because the onset of symptoms can take up to 2 weeks, this is why social distancing is so important. Somebody could be out in public and not be aware that they are a carrier until it's too late and they've infected a bunch of other people. Hospitals are struggling to have enough PPE for the healthcare staff. I would hate to be in the situation that New York is in, where PPE is quite scarce and people have to go into work without being properly protected. We can only flatten the curve if everybody works together. Healthcare workers like myself have to go to work to care for these people, and you can do your part to stay at home. I know the second half of this video is kind of unrelated to my reselling business, but I do work full-time as a nurse and I resell very casually, so this is very important to me. And if you have any other questions, you can just leave your comments below and I'll try to get back to you. Until next time, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!